Listen, dear, I realize that you've been hurt deeply because I've been there. But regardless to who, what, why, when, and where, we're all precious in His sight. And a rose is still and always will be a rose.
I'm back. This is another episode of the Relapse and Recovery Chronicles. Today I want to talk about how to stay centered in your recovery, things that you can do in order to stay centered in your recovery, and things that I find important to do in order to stay in your recovery. One of the most important things you can do is to have a routine, to have some structure going on in your life. You have to think about when we were out there doing our thing. We didn't have any structure. We ate when we wanted to, didn't eat when we didn't want to, got money, got high when we wanted to. We didn't have a set time to wake up, and we didn't have a set time to go to sleep, if we ever slept. But structure is going to be important, and what you do with your time is going to be important as far as the results that you start to see in your life. If you don't do nothing all day, you can just expect to not get nothing on a regular basis. But if you start implementing certain things into your daily, you're definitely going to see some changes. Now, for me, my structure now is I basically have to wake up and I have to get my bearings. Basically, I do the meditation, and I pick different meditations to listen to, or sometimes I just sit in peace. I just sit in quiet. I pray, and I make sure that I look ahead for the day, and I ask God to order my steps. I do a little journaling sometimes. Well, I call it scripting. This is basically where I thank God for things that I don't have yet, like they already are there in my life. Because lo and behold, when you do that, things start to appear. So, that, and I basically want to let it be known that with me, I decided to create my life around recovery. You know, I work in the field of recovery at this point. I wanna suggest that to anybody that is in the process of going through recovery. Look into, being a recovery coach, a peer specialist. Look into those kind of things, because it's such a fulfilling thing to come out of your addiction and be able to start helping other people who are like you, and it don't hurt to get paid for it. But that's bringing me to my next thing you can do in order to stay centered in your recovery is be of service. Do some volunteer work. It doesn't necessarily have to be with people who are in their addiction, but being able to be of service to anybody and getting out of yourself and getting out of your head will definitely keep you from a relapse. It will definitely keep you centered on the things that are most important, which is basically building yourself by building other people. That's going to bring me to my next thing that's going to keep you centered, is building yourself. And in building yourself, I mean creating goals for yourself, having a vision for yourself, and setting certain goals and standards to attain and to aspire to and goals to reach. This is called self-actualization, and there are certain needs and that you have as a human being that need to be in place before you can actually stabilize and self-actualize. And when you start creating an environment that is built around recovery, and you have a support network of recovery friends and things like that, it's going to make it easier for you to start figuring out what your goals are and what it is that you want to see yourself doing and who it is that you want to be. Those are all important entities and aspects of recovery that you're going to have to you're going to have them in order to stay sober. I don't know anybody that doesn't have goals that's in recovery that has been able to stay sober. Yeah, and also having a thick layer of skin and understanding that nothing beats a failure but a try. Because sometimes we set these extensive goals for ourselves coming straight out of recovery that may not be realistic, and when we don't accomplish them, we immediately go to feeling a certain type of way that makes us think that we have to use in order to get through those feelings. But feelings are gifts. They are just a signal as to something not being right within your spirit, or something not being right with your spirit man that you may need to change. And maybe the approach wasn't right. It doesn't mean change the goal. It just means to change your plan to get to the goal, whatever that may be. If the goal is not in sync with who you are, rearrange the goal in order to get it in sync. But self-actualization is definitely going to be a goal. It's definitely something, well, not a goal. It's definitely something you want to do in order to maintain your recovery. Creating new versions of yourself every year if need be. Which is bringing me to my next step. Make sure you work the steps. I'm not saying that, because I'm a recovery coach and I advocate for all avenues of recovery, and I don't think that AA and ACA are the only ways. But those 12 steps are important to a spiritual awakening. And I do think that the spiritual has a lot to do with recovery. Because when we're doing drugs, we're basically trying to numb. We're trying to numb whatever it is, whatever pain there is that we have, whatever it is that we're going through. We're trying not to feel that. Or there are some personality characteristics that you don't like about yourself that when you on drugs, they change. And you think you like who that person is until it becomes too much and you're not even that person anymore. You're just a completely different person from the person you are when you're not doing drugs and the person you were when you started doing drugs. You know, you just changed into a whole new thing. So, definitely want to work those steps in order to get to a spiritual awakening and have an understanding with the God of your understanding. Don't let nobody pick a God for you. There is only one, but guess what? You do get to pick who that is to you, period. And that's one of the most important parts of the NAAACA program, the Anonymous program, is that you pick a God of your own understanding in order to guide you through life. And I think that when you detach a lot of the stereotypical, the enigmatic, and the stigmatic, is that the word, of religion, when you take religion out of recovery and you start thinking of it in a spiritual manner, it makes it easier to get through those steps. But it's definitely a spiritual malady, you know, because of the things that we're basically getting high because of, not want to deal with our feelings and things like that. And being an empath, you tend to pick up on other people's feelings and don't even realize you picking up on other motherfuckers' feelings. Them ain't even your feelings, and you trying to numb other people's feelings. You really need to be alone during your recovery so that you learn who you are and can understand your energy. That way, when it changes out of nowhere, you know it's not yours to a certain extent. You're like, well, who did I just touch? Who was I just by? Who was I just talking to where I done picked up on this heavy ass energy that I just was not feeling like this before? That's one way you can tell when you are an empath. That's a whole nother video. But what I did find is that there are a lot of empaths that are addicts. And that's because we don't understand how to deal with feelings, especially feelings that aren't ours. Or if we're real sensitive too, we're real sensitive to where trauma hits us in a different kind of way. And if you ever notice, all of our greats are addicts, people that know how to explain how we feel better than we know how to explain it. They're all addicts because they're empaths. They feel what the world feels, and they're just better able to put it into words or art, things like that. But anyway, the whole video basically is just how to stay centered in your recovery. Learning who you are will help you stay centered in your recovery. Surrounding yourself with recovery will help you stay centered in your recovery. A routine and structure will help you stay centered in your recovery. Am I missing anything? Goals, aspirations, self-actualization will help you stay centered in your recovery, and being of service. Making sure that you're doing for others what you wish somebody would do for you will help you stay centered in your recovery. Now, I'm not telling you to go put yourself in a situation where you're doing for people all the time and nobody's doing for you. I'm not telling you to not put yourself first. I'm just saying get out of your own head sometimes and go do some other shit. And go do some stuff for other people and be of service. Go see some other things. Get some other stuff started. This has been another episode of the Relapse and Recovery Chronicles. This is your girl Toya. I rose from the concrete. I did. Hey. And yeah, this was how to stay centered in your recovery. All right, y'all. Bye.